Speaking of pharma, let's get to our next conversation. And Wockhardt is the company on our radar. We have Mr. Khorakiwala joining in. There's so much to discuss, including the company's own plans and some positive developments around some of the drugs that they're developing and discovering. So great to have you in. But we first, of course, have to get to the overnight news, right? Just a couple of hours back, this 100% tariff on branded drugs, as well as on anything which is IP protected. Let me just start right there, sir. You, of course, decided to get out of, US generics earlier this year. But then you are developing a lot of the other, branded drugs or specialty drugs, perhaps with the hopes of getting back to the US market at some point in time. Now, do those plans change with what has happened?
One of the important things is all our new molecules like Zaynich, which we would be going to US as our first drug. The product is entirely manufactured in Europe, and therefore it will not be covered by Indian tariffs, and it would be covered by the European tariff. And we have to actually assess the impact of that when we introduce it. But overall, we don't believe it would have a significant impact on the business proposition which we have for Zaynich in USA.
Okay, so you don't think it will have a significant impact? Since we're talking, specific to that drug, Zaynich, what were the timelines that you were working with in terms of development, and how critical would the US market be in the scale-up and the sales of this particular drug?
We would be filing to US FDA sometime next week. We would be filing Zaynich next week.
But sir, you don't. Where is the drug being produced? Because the order seems very clear that the tariff is going to be there 100% unless there is manufacturing in the US.
It is getting produced in Europe. So if it is getting produced in Europe, I do not know the tariff position. Is it in Europe? It is 100%. But our product is getting manufactured in Europe, and we have to assess the impact of the tariff. But this will affect most of the drug because major part of a new molecule are also manufactured in Europe and other countries.
Mr. Khorakiwala, good morning, sir. Prashant here.
Yes, Prashant.
The way it's all on the back of a social media post, right? That's how this is being conducted from President Trump. So details, etc., we don't know. We've been talking to analysts. The other question is, for example, in semiconductors, similar thing was announced. All companies said we are investing so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. How much will happen, we don't know. And then nobody's tariffed anything. So, and here also, the post seems to suggest if you're breaking ground, if then you're exempt. So I guess most companies will rush to announce something, and that seems to be the target, right? That seems to be the motive for doing this, Mr. Khorakiwala. My question is there a way around this by doing exactly that?
I'm sure, once we understand the whole subject, one need not have to take up at the face value of tariff.
Correct.
There are approaches and methods available where overall one can reduce significantly the impact of tariff.
Yeah. Is there a broad thinking that maybe, and the other question is if you announce something in the US that are only what you make in the US exempted, or what is coming out of Europe also or elsewhere also exempted with one manufacturing base in the US, does that mean that everything that you send into the US is exempt? That clarity is also not there.
So it's very difficult for me because I have not read this latest news of 100% to comment anything on that front. But I must tell you that all our new molecules are not manufactured in India. They are researched in India, discovered in India. They have a global clinical trial, and mostly they are getting manufactured in Europe.
This will not, if this stays, right, and this doesn't, there's always a starting position and then it kind of comes down and it's negotiated lower and hopefully it will.
Yeah, we are looking at about 18 months to 2 years period before our first drug would be in the market.
Exactly. And by then the situation could be different.
What happens during the meantime?
Yeah. Now, let's just assume for a minute, this is all theoretical, that it does not. Would you look at, you said there are ways to mitigate it. So, for example, you license this to somebody making in the US. I mean, is that what you had in mind in that sense?
I cannot comment on it at the moment. We will have to examine both from a business strategy point of view and a tax planning point of view.
Mr. Khorakiwala, before we move to other subjects, just a final word on this. We've discussed what this means for you and how you will take a key drug like Zaynich into the US market. Just a sense on what this could mean for the rest of the industry, the few players who are selling branded drugs in the US. I mean, at 100% tariff, is the business viable at all? Whether it's for you, I mean, you'll be, of course, exporting it through Europe, or for anyone else who could be exporting from anywhere, including India?
I think there are approaches available because conceptually we have visited this subject, and it is possible to get the product in the US market at a lower cost. I cannot discuss this in detail because we have just explored this possibility and we haven't come with a very specific view.
Okay. Sir, as far as, and I know this is a speculative question as of now, maybe unfair to ask, but let me ask it anyway. Do you believe that there could be some measures even on generic drugs? It doesn't impact you. You've already sold the business ahead of the curve, so to speak. But, how would you assess the possible implications on the rest of the supply chain and perhaps even the future of generic drugs being sold in the US at this point?
See, Wockhardt has exited a generic business completely from US. So as a company, we are not affected at all. But talking of industry as a whole, it's very difficult for the US to have drugs not coming out of India because 40% of entire usage of medicine in US comes from manufactured in India. And if there is a shortage of drug because of any other reason, it will have a catastrophic effect in the healthcare management in the US. So either the levy will be passed on to the user, that is to government or to insurance companies, and the prices of the drugs will go up accordingly.
Okay, sir, let's also talk about the other development favorable for the company, which is what the Lancet Journal is saying on McNuff. In fact, if you could just highlight this point as well. So what is the data and what are the implications then for the further scale up on McNuff?
See, what is important here, it is the first publication from India which has been covered by Lancet. This also represents the integrity and thoroughness of our clinical work and the molecule itself. Because we have been in discussion with Lancet for nearly 6 to 8 months, and they have collected all possible data to make sure that whatever is published is accurate. So I think from that point of view, it is a major milestone for Wockhardt and for India of the quality of clinical and development work we can do, which is of a global standard.
All right, Mr. Khorakiwala, final question before we let you go. For the year on the whole, you were indicating there's going to be some margin guidance. So could you tell us what we should work with for the company on the whole? What kind of revenue growth should we work with? And debt reduction plans? 3 numbers, sir.
We have exited the US market, as you know, and we incurred a loss of about 8 million last year. And we will carry forward some exit loss of about 4 million this year also. But our second half would be significantly better than the first half. And we would be also investing in a new molecule launch. But we would certainly improve our margin by at least 200 basis points.
Okay. And growth on the top line, sir, on a like-to-like basis, as you said, you've exited a couple of businesses. So what should it look like? If you can give us
But it will be double-digit growth.
Double-digit growth. All right. Okay, Mr. Khorakiwala, appreciate you joining in. Looking forward to chatting up with you as we get some more clarity with regard to these tariffs on the, in the United States and the way ahead.